Update. Am I the a-hole for refusing to continue providing free childcare for my stepdaughter? Original post. I did a work program with the local clerk of court's office when I was in high school. They hired me when I graduated, and I had my 30 service years before I turned 50. With 30 service years, you can get your full pension at any age. I worked until my first grandchild was born. Then I retired to be grandma daycare. I have 5 grandchildren, an 8-year-old male for my stepson, a 7-year-old male for my son, a 5-year-old female, and an 18-month-old male for my daughter. I babysat all of them with no issues or complaints. I still keep the 18-month-old Monday through Friday and the older ones during the summer and school holidays. My stepdaughter and her boyfriend have been non-stop dramas since before the baby was born. When she was 10 weeks pregnant, they presented a 3-page list of rules for when I was babysitting. They said if I didn't sign it, they wouldn't allow me to babysit. I said I understood their need to do what was best for their baby and assured them there would be no hurt feelings on my end if they made other childcare arrangements. Some of the rules were almost understandable, but most were downright ridiculous, and none of it was going to work for me. I don't remember them all, but some examples are: I can't take the baby anywhere without their permission. I can't watch more than one additional child while babysitting. I can't cook. I had to provide the full name, DOB, and address of any potential visitors ahead of time for their approval. They had to know anytime I had a guest over, who it was and how long they stayed. My 9-year-old cat would have to be kept out of rooms where the baby would be, even when the baby wasn't there. I couldn't get another pet without their agreement. When she was 7 months along, they came back with revised rules in an attempt to compromise. Again, I let them know their expectations were not going to fit with my life, and that they should find other childcare. 2 days after my stepdaughter went back to work, she called and asked if I could keep Cullen the next day. I agreed, but made it clear that I was going to provide safe, appropriate care according to my judgment, and I wouldn't tolerate complaints about violating the rules. My stepdaughter was okay during pickup and drop-off, but I felt like she was interrogating me every time she picked him up. It was tolerable, but her boyfriend was downright rude. By Sunday, I would dread the start of the week because of dealing with both of them, especially his behavior. At minimum, he would pick up Cullen, partially undress him, make at least one snide comment about my cat, or complain if I had any other grandchildren over, or if I had cooked. Then he'd say things like, "I guess we don't have any choice but to put up with this for now," or "I guess you're happy that you won." This went on for 4 months. I spoke to my stepdaughter several times, telling her that they seemed unhappy with my care and should find another solution. I also told her that her boyfriend needed to stop being so vocal. Things would improve for a day or two, but then he'd start again. It all came to a head as Thanksgiving approached. He was very vocal about not wanting me to keep all my grandchildren over the break. I made it clear that I would have all of them on certain days, and that they needed to make other arrangements if they had a problem. They didn't make other arrangements, and when he picked Cullen up on the first day, I had all the grandchildren, and he was very rude. Although nothing happened, everyone was happy, clean, and fed. He said to Cullen, "I'm sorry, we have no choice but to leave you in an unsafe situation to be neglected." I called my stepdaughter that night, relayed what was said, and told her she had 2 weeks to make other arrangements. I also told her she needed to drop off and pick up Cullen during that time. If her boyfriend came to drop him off, I would refuse to keep him, and if he came to pick him up, I wouldn't watch him again. Things improved with her doing drop-offs and pickups. At some point, she asked if I could keep Cullen until January because they had found someone, but he couldn't start until then. I agreed. On New Year's Day, several people sent me a screenshot of a post her boyfriend made on social media about how thankful he was that they were finally able to leave Cullen without worrying about his safety or neglect. He didn't outright name me, but anyone who knows us would know the post implied plenty. I was just happy it was over. Friday, she called me saying their new childcare provider told her Cullen wasn't a good fit and couldn't return Monday. She asked if I would start keeping him again. I told her I was sorry for their situation but didn't feel comfortable watching him. My husband and stepson both think I should watch Cullen, under the agreement that Amanda drop him off and pick him up, as they believe her boyfriend is the real problem. My stepson also commented that I'd probably be more willing to let it go if it had been a conflict with my daughter's husband. My pension is about $4,000 a month, plus continuation of my health insurance, which is about 40% of our take-home income if that matters. Am I the a-hole for refusing to start watching Colin again? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. No, you shouldn't put yourself through this for Colin's sake. Colin will get cared for regardless. There's no need for you to set yourself on fire because your stepdaughter and her boyfriend can't behave like normal human beings. Your husband and stepson are welcome to offer free childcare and put up with this treatment if it's important to them. But you've done your time. Learn from that experience and don't let yourself be put in the same situation again. There's a reason the licensed daycare won't keep him. It's the boyfriend. The liability alone would make me pause. He could ruin your lives. Especially after that Facebook post. No way. Yeah, boyfriend could call CPS because of the cat or some other crazy idea. Stay away from these people. Baby daddy has a real problem. That's very controlling behavior there. He also may have a distorted view of you if your stepdaughter has complained about her evil stepmother before the baby. Until she needed you, that is. Not the a-hole. I read that gaslighting runs deep in that crowd. You are so good with boundaries. Now they're slandered your name, called you unsafe and unfit until they need you again. If your husband and stepson want to help them, they should. I'm guessing the example of your daughter/sister-in-law doesn't include public shaming on Facebook. Those demands are nonsense and pretty funny considering they can't figure out their own lives but want to run your retirement. Good luck, because God forbid that baby gets mobile and bumps their head or some other minor issue comes up. Yeah, that couple is better off being someone else's headache than this sweet lady. Now for the update. First, let me address the common suggestion that Amanda's boyfriend is purposely sabotaging their childcare to trap her at home. They make roughly the same amount of money and definitely can't afford to lose half their income. I seriously doubt he wants her to stay home. Second, I would never tell my stepson to find someone else to watch his child because of a simple difference of opinion. My grandson and I have a very close bond. He's the oldest, and it would break both my heart and his if he didn't come spend his holidays and summers with me. Plus, he's a huge help with the little ones when I have them all, and things get hectic. I would never be so petty as to make him, and all my other grandchildren, suffer because of an adult disagreement. So, I sort of asked around about why they were dropped by their new sitter so quickly. Apparently, they weren't. Amanda picked Colin up and dropped him off both days he went, and everything was lovely. He did cry quite a bit, but they expected that to improve as he adjusted to not being held as much. My husband and stepson talked to Amanda, and she said they realized they can't afford daycare. They already made the easy changes. Packing a lunch, giving up fancy coffee, etc. And his dad and her mom are both giving them about $100 a month towards childcare. They can barely afford it, but they didn't realize that they've had to send everything the baby needs. I buy diapers, wipes, formula, bottles, extra clothes, etc. They just hand me the baby. They didn't realize daycare doesn't cover all that. Also, imagine her boyfriend's surprise when he found out what the staffing ratios are in this very expensive daycare. One adult cares for 5 infants. I guess he thought someone would provide one-on-one care, along with diapers, wipes, and formula for $350 a week? My stepson relayed their almost apology. They felt overwhelmed by an infant and couldn't imagine that someone else could manage that plus other things. Colin is going back to daycare tomorrow. Colin's dad is selling his dirt bike, and Amanda is selling some designer clothes, handbags, and shoes to cover the cost. It'll get easier for them in 6 months when he transfers to the 1-year-old class, which is a little cheaper. I love how Amanda's boyfriend was shocked to find out that daycare isn't a magical babysitting fairyland. Newsflash, diapers don't grow on trees, buddy. Wonder if he is ever going to apologize for being an absolute idiot. What a moron. No, he'll likely get Amanda pregnant again inside a year because he literally cannot connect cause and effect, and neither can Amanda. It's actually insane to think about how he went public with accusations of child neglect against you. Yet, he didn't know the first thing about what his child would actually need in daycare because you had it covered. Also, the almost apologies will never be enough until your stepdaughter's partner publicly retracts and apologizes properly for his earlier libel. I would push back against her stepson a bit, not in terms of changing anything with childcare, but simply ask him why he thought it was appropriate to ask you to work for free for someone who publicly slandered you. You deserve a proper apology from both your husband and stepson as well. It's funny that he accused her of neglect just because she had her other grandkids over. Then he takes the baby to daycare only to find out the daycare worker also takes care of 4 other babies at once. It sounds like most days, OP only had a baby and the 18-month-old, since the other kids were in school and were only there during school breaks. So for free, the stepdaughter and boyfriend's baby was actually getting more attention. Probably even with the other kids there because they're older and don't need as much as babies. Now they have the pleasure of paying someone who watches 5 babies every day at once, and they have to provide diapers, formula, and whatever else the baby needs. It serves them right to have to sell their stuff to afford daycare. Maybe it will teach them not to bite the hand that feeds them, or not to look a gift horse in the mouth. Whichever one fits better. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband I don't care if he can't raise his son? I've been with my husband for a few years now. We've had good and bad days, but as a couple, you overcome them, right? Lately, we've been butting heads a lot, way more than we used to. I'm 28 female and my spouse is 32 male. It's gotten to the point where we've been sleeping in different rooms. Of course, I noticed the lack of communication, so I suggested we go to couples counseling, but he refused. I went by myself to work on my issues. I tried suggesting counseling a second time, and he got really angry, so I let it go. He has a son 7 from his previous relationship. I don't have kids with him, but we've been raising his son together since his mother isn't in his life. There were days when he wouldn't come home for days at a time. By then, I kind of knew something was up, and my heart raced as I got closer to the truth. As they say, the truth hurts. I remember one day when I was lecturing my stepson because he spilled glue on the carpet. I didn't even know my husband had come home until he came into his son's room, screaming at me. He told me I had no right to lecture his son because I wasn't his mother. He did this all in front of his son, who looked scared. It felt like a slap in the face because I've been there since his son was 2, and to know that this is the treatment I'm getting? I don't know what set him off that day. I should have known from his behavior. I found out he was cheating on me with one of the women he claimed was his best friend. I couldn't move on when I discovered their text messages, meetups, and dates. I was already stressed out and completely done with everything. When he got home, I told him I knew everything, so he shouldn't try to deny it. Still, he tried to come up with excuses. I just stood there and let him babble. He started crying, saying he couldn't raise his son without me. I told him I didn't care if he couldn't raise his son without me. I can't say he wasn't shocked. At that moment, I'm at my mom's house, planning my next move. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Don't go back. He does not see you as a mother. He sees you as a babysitter for when he's out cheating. Your marriage is over. You're not the a-hole. His behavior is inexcusable. He's cheating, abusive, and disrespectful. His claim that he can't raise his son without you is manipulative. You are not a babysitter. You're his partner. Don't let him guilt you into staying. This relationship is toxic. Leaving is the best thing for you. Focus on your well-being. You deserve a partner who values and respects you. Don't go back. We do raise his son together since his mother isn't in his life. He told me I had no right to lecture him when I was not his mother. Sounds like cheater boy expected that by marrying you, he acquired an unpaid nanny, because he damn sure is not treating you like a wife. Let his current F-buddy be his new child care solution, and leave his mess behind you. Sad for the kid, but oh well, he said himself that you're not a kid's mother. See ya. Exactly this. It's heartbreaking for the kid, but you can't build a stable home with someone who treats you like a convenience. Hopefully, OP's next move gives her the peace she deserves. I'm so happy to hear you left. You've put yourself first here. Keep it up and stay away from that man permanently. Get a divorce and get free of him, not the a-hole. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad I'm not moving state with him and his family? My parents got divorced when I, 15 male, was 7, and my dad got married again 3 years ago. His wife has 2 little kids with her ex. He visits them twice a year, sometimes even less. At my dad's house, I've always had to take care of myself. And when his wife's kids came into the house, I was expected to babysit and make sure they were taken care of too. It's 3 hours, Monday to Friday, when I'm at my dad's. My mom hated it for me as much as I hated it, but it wasn't something my dad would ever stop, even when she talked to him about it. A judge didn't care when my mom told the courts about it because siblings babysitting isn't the worst thing ever. I don't think that's fair because they're not even my siblings, and they weren't my step-siblings when it first started. But I guess it doesn't matter. The kids got super attached to me. Dad argued with my mom a lot because she wouldn't make me go over to his house on her time to babysit for those 3 hours. He thought it was crappy of her to get in the way of my time with the kids, and he didn't care if I didn't want to. When my dad and his wife decided to move states, they wanted me to come. The judge said no because he'd be taking me away from my mom, and I've lived here my whole life. However, the judge said that if I wanted to go, it would be approved, and my mom couldn't stop it. But I don't want to go, and I've told him that repeatedly. He told me I should think more about it and said I'm part of a bigger family and that he'd miss me. And his stepkids would miss me too. Even when he was saying that, it was so obvious he'd also miss the babysitting I do for them. He told me to think about the long term and the good things the move would make possible. For example, they're moving close to a really good school, which my dad tried to use as a reason to get my mom to agree to make me go. But my mom doesn't want to only see me every few months. Now my dad's throwing a fit because I've said I won't move, and they're leaving in a couple of weeks. I'm still not going. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Free babysitting is done, Dad. Have fun actually paying someone to take care of the kids. Yep, I'm so happy it's done in 2 weeks. Exactly. The free ride is over. Let's see how fast he realizes just how much he's been leaning on you to keep things running smoothly. It's not your job to step up where Dad refuses to take responsibility. Maybe paying for actual childcare will give him a reality check. Don't go anywhere. Stop babysitting, oh my God. I don't get to stop it. My dad made it one of my chores. But once he moves, I won't have to anymore. Actually, tell the judge you aren't being paid to babysit. Bet that puts a stop to it. According to federal guidelines, you aren't allowed to work for free. Babysitting is a job, not a chore. Tell your mom if you aren't being paid, you don't want to babysit. The judge knew, but didn't see a problem because Dad treated it like a chore I had to do, and the judge said that's normal.